Alright everybody, my name is Fedor Nicholas and we will be playing some Butcher Seekers again today. So, I have taken your suggestion from the comments and we will be playing with a very quirky team, if you will. We go second, which is unfortunate. And so, what is the team that I'm bringing all about? I'm bringing a Damage Shield Breaker with Impale, because one of you suggested that I try to make it work. And, well, I'm gonna try, certainly. The opponent fails the slam, which is unfortunate for them, and I could do many things as my first action, but I think what is going to be most important is to just uppercut this leper. And as you can see, I'm bringing the infamous Visage as for my Bounty Hunter trinket. One of you has suggested that I run Stress Bounty Hunter as well, which is definitely one of the plays of all time in the British circus. So I'm gonna just get a crit with Impale here. Sorry that the damage numbers don't stack up, but I mean, it has like minus 70% damage on this, whereas Grapeshot Dust has so much more. I could try to maybe make it work with guards and commands and all that, but yeah, it's gonna be pretty rough and I'm gonna lose so much tempo because of that. So the next suggestion was to bring the damage version of the Man-at-Arms with Rampart, Retribution and Crush. So I figured that bringing the Insignia of Rank is gonna be pretty helpful for the extra accuracy. And just to top it all off, I'm gonna bringing a standard regen finisher Antiquarian, just to give this team some of that precious stability. Now, my opponent is running also some quirky team, Shepstress number 5 mainly, and they fail on another slam, which is unfortunate for them, but fortunate for me. So, I could have brought something like Veteran's Gauntlet on the Man-at-Arms, mainly for this reason, but I thought to myself, you know what, I don't want the extra stanchions when he goes Afflicted, goes Abusive and decides to act out and hit my teammates. So yeah, I think that's plenty valid enough reason. I'm gonna try to pull the Arbalest here and fail miserably, because of course, why would I succeed? And what does my opponent want to do here? I think I should be spamming those regens now.
A dizzying blow to body and brain.
They don't really have a finisher character, so I think I should make use of that while I can. And yeah, not sure if I should Serpent Sway immediately next turn or not, but I think I'm in a pretty good overall spot here, even with the Azure shenanigans. He's gonna guard the Flagellant, which is a strange play, but it is a play.
Hold fast.
So I'm just gonna, I guess I'm gonna give some stress to this Abomination. He's gonna go for a Rake, which gets a double check, but no death blow. So I could puncture here or I could expose. So I think that puncturing here is gonna be quite helpful. I know there's a Bola, but it disrupts the Flagellant, which is really important for me, I think. They take the Bounty Hunter, which is unfortunate, but he wasn't really all that helpful throughout the entire match, so I don't really mind it so much. What I would mind is my Shield Breaker dying, so I'm just going to guard her though. Even if it does get rid of the repulsed, I think that keeping her alive is going to be quite important. to win this match. He's gonna go for a bellow, and that's an almost afflicted shield breaker, which is quite unfortunate. And I think that I need to go on the offense here and just start spamming those festering vapors. It may not seem like it hurts a lot, but it does certainly hurt in the long run. Even if you get a crit redeem or something, it's still going to hurt, trust me. So, before anything silly happens, I'm just going to click my shield breaker and go for a nice expose onto his A-bomb. Try and focus him down, preferably before the second transformation comes through. And it's gonna be another bellow, it hits the shield breaker, meaning that she's gonna go afflicted now. Paranoid means extra dodge, which is good, I suppose. It's good.
The shadows whisper of conspiracy.
And I'm just going to whack this Abomination, give myself some riposte. And if he doesn't heal here, there is a finisher Antiquarian coming, so she's gonna flare. It is suspicious, but I suppose it pays off. No Vislak, am I right? The flatulent hits into the post a bit. Doesn't really pay for it, but DMA goes masochistic, which doesn't really matter.
Injury. Find it in no short supply.
And the Antiquarian goes vigorous, which is very, very nice to see. You know, those self-heals could come in handy at the best possible time. He won't go selfish and no silly act out, he's just going to heal himself. Well, what should I do here? I think that a wise play would be to... Fresh doesn't do enough damage to anyone, but Rampart... Yeah, Rampart could be pretty good here. This is one of those situations where Rampart does really shine when you have somebody in position 2 and putting them in 3 would be really, really bad. Or, you know, in position 1 sometimes, but it is not one of those times. So the Antiquarian is quite bleeding heavily, but I think it's not as bad as she thought as she heals herself. So I think that another festering vapors is gonna be really helpful here. If you're gonna ball out here, you're going to... Now you're gonna flare. I mean, sure, I don't mind. And she's gonna daze the Man-at-Arms. It's unfortunate. Now I could puncture here somebody, but I'm honestly not sure what that would achieve. Actually, no. It's good, because now the Man-at-Arms can't guard the Abomination. So, and the Herbalist can heal him. Though the Flagellant can redeem. And he redeems only for 8, which is, it doesn't really accomplish anything, considering he takes 4 DOT. So then, I think that this Abomination is going to die pretty soon. Though he does get the stun, which is really unfortunate. I think that I need to click the Shield Breaker here. Not give my opponent a free Death Door check. And yeah, the longer this match goes on, the less fortunate it is for my opponent. Their health bars are dropping down to 0. They're melting. So she's gonna go for Andropola into the crit post, because of course. And now the Manacles could get a death blow, but I pray that it doesn't. And I think that it's gonna be really handy to just drop another region here. So what does my opponent want to do here? They're gonna go immediately for the Manacles, I imagine. some extra stress, doesn't really matter. And I got a dodge. That's very, very, very fortunate. You know, normally this team probably wouldn't do so well against like a darkest opponent who's running a meta team or something, but against something like this, this is going to bring quite an exciting match, because I can make use of all those weird abilities and not get punished so hard. So I guess my lack of luck with darkest opponents does pay off in this specific instance. So the Flagellant is probably just gonna move forward here. I don't think that this team is as perfect as it could be, so the next match I think I'm going to improve upon it. But what are you gonna do? Oh shucks. Well, I suppose I'm just going to puncture you. What I was gonna say is that the next match I'm gonna try to improve this team, because there's plenty of things that I could do to make it better. And what are those upgrades, you might be asking? Well, I think that... Damn, that's really unfortunate, though it's a wasted Exsanguinate, which is a good thing. The upgrades I'm talking about are, I think... MF Arms are, I think, best reserved for the future, so that you're not spoiled for the future, dear Anon. So they get another transform here, which is unfortunate, but they get lack of position on this leopard, and they get a nice crit on it, which is very nice. It may come with a double death blow now, which is going to be very fortunate if that happens. Command Antiquarian, do it, and no death blows. But it comes with more DLT onto the Man-at-Arms, which is good for me. They're gonna bellow, try to salvage this situation, but I think that even if they get herd out and down to Death's Door, I'm still at an advantage here. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna drop for... and I get a very juicy dodge. Man, my Shield Breaker has been clutching with those dodges lately. And well, I could drop an Impale here. I really want to drop another Festering Vapors. No deathblow on the Abomination, sadly, but it does take the Arblast, which is very, very good for me. Now the Abomination could do something silly like a pass, but he doesn't. He's gonna go for the Rake instead, into the Deathblow. And yeah, I think that now it's really rough for my opponent. Because now, look at this, I can just... Thank you for the self-mark. I can just go for a Rampart. And it did not work, because Rampart is not a very good ability. But next, oh, they're gonna go for their own Rampart. Get a Death's Door check, and they don't get it, which is fortunate for me. And I'm gonna just puncture them, their Man-at-Arms. Get a Death's Door check that way. I think that just taking my final action with the Man-at-Arms here is going to be very helpful here. Try to get a Cursed Deathblow, but it sadly doesn't work. It does get him afflicted though, which is fortunate. They go Rational, which is really, really nice. And what does the Flagellant want to do here? They go Exsanguinate to the Shield Breaker and miss, and it's gonna be a surrender. And here we go straight into match number 2. Sadly still against a Navis. But you know, my team isn't exactly perfect, so I suppose it makes up for that. They bring a strange team, and here's what I did. I brought the Crushed Hemlock on the Man-at-Arms and the Bounty Hunter. Now, this does gimp my finishing potential, but I think it's overall a little bit better. So I go second again, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Now, what are they gonna do here? They have a pretty quirky setup with a Bloodied Gambus and Hellion and a Damaged Bounty Hunter. And please don't let it be a desync, thankfully it isn't. And they go for the if it bleeds. And it hits, and it does get the bleed. Which is quite unfortunate. But what is also going to be unfortunate is me dropping a Caltrops turn 1. I have no way to deal with that bleed. No region, they only have Vestal heal. So I think it's going to be a very nice thing for me. Especially now, since they don't really have Duelist Advance up yet. So they go for the PBS immediately, just to reset their Hellion's position. And their Hellion really likes to be in position 1, which I think is quite a misplay, so I think I'm just going to... Yeah, I think that pulling the Bounty Hunter is going to be quite handy. It will put the Hellion out of position. She has no breakthrough for some bizarre reason, so I'm going to fully capitalize on that. Now, the Vestal is still quite a bad threat for me right now, so I think I'm going to pull her next turn. And this Bounty Hunter is going to do what? Mark? Or come hither? No, it's going to be a mark onto the Bounty Hunter. With a minus Doppler resist 2, which is unfortunate. So I think I'm just going to guard here, honestly. Sure, they have Grapeshot Blast, but other than that, they don't really have a way to break through the guard other than to get a chancy stun, since they don't have any stun trinkets. But they do go for it on the Shield Breaker instead. Spicy play. I think that what I should do here, I could regen here, and I think I will. I think I will regen here because, well, I may not have much value for it now. It may bring me a lot of value later. So they're going with their Highwayman turn first, just to get that post up. And they do just enough damage. And this is the exact reason I dropped the the Rejuvenating Vapors. Just to get that Shield Breaker off of the store. Now, they could like get a lucky collect bounty or finish him and then go for a stun, a death blow, but I hope they're not smart enough to do that. So they go with their Hellion on turn, get a bleed on the Man-at-Arms, which is unfortunate. I'm just going to drop a Retribution here, get some blight into a Bounty Hunter. See, the reason I brought Crushed Hemlock is because Man-at-Arms isn't a very good damage dealer. He deals some damage, but Crushed Hemlock is going to be really helpful to make up for the lack of his raw damage. I got a very nice Squish Repose here, and I think that just pulling this Vestal here is going to be very helpful for me. Prevents a Divine Grace and a Judgment. He has no Divine Comfort, which is strange to see, but I suppose they did bring the Maze Bash for this exact situation. It does enough for a crit, but doesn't get a daze, which is very good for me. So I could regen here again, or I could Festering. I think that regening here is going to be more helpful for me because they dropped If It Bleeds, and now with double regen, it's going to actually outpace the bleeds, so it's going to be pretty good for me, I think. Come on, don't get it? They do get it, which is unfortunate for me. Really unfortunate, but I suppose it is what it is. Now, I could try to play guard the bounty hunter, but I think that getting this vessel out of position is going to be quite important for me. Even if they go for a crazy collect bounty, I have regen to help myself, so I'm not too preoccupied about that. They go with the Maze Bash. It deals a solid amount of damage but doesn't get a daze. Maybe they just don't have the trinkets for it, who knows. Or they don't know better. Either case, it's good for me. So now this is quite an odd situation for me to be in, and I think that dropping finishing maybe. Yeah, I think that dropping a finish onto this vessel is going to be quite handy. Get some extra damage and get some more DOT onto her, which is going to be really helpful for me, I imagine. And that Hellion is in position 4, which is exactly what I wanted. Hellion never likes being in position 4 unless she has maybe breakthrough, and this one doesn't, so she's just gonna be forced to pass forever. Plus Highwayman wants to constantly move forward, and she constantly wants to move forward, and it's just a mess.
As life ebbs,
And now the bounty hunter is down at 0, which is very good for me. They see the collect bounty. Does it do enough? Yes, it does.
and now the true test.
Now here is why
Hold fast.
rejuvenating vapors has a lot of value. I could just regen and go for something like this. And had it succeeded, it would have been very good for me. But sadly, no takers. They go for the if it bleeds again. Get it.
Perched at the very precipice of
But
oblivion.
what I can just do here now is just guard here. I could go for a risky death blow, but I think that losing another character here is going to be really bad for me. So I'm just gonna play it safe and go for a guard. Now, what are they gonna do? Go with their Vestal first, and they try to stun the Antiquarian, which is, it's pretty smart. Try to prevent that festering vapors, I imagine. And no matter what they do here, actually no, Camp Hitter is pretty good. They fail it. They failed 80%, which is very fortunate for me. So they don't really have any good targets. I mean, suppose they have the Antiquarian, who's going to just regen. But I think that regening with Bounty Hunter is going to be more important here. They don't take the death blow. This is why you really want to bring finish on your Bounty Hunter. Sadly, in this instance, I can't really afford to, because then my damage output will be really lackluster. And what does my opponent want to do here? They are slowly but surely bleeding down to 0 with everything that I apply to them. They go with their Maze Bash. They don't get a ace. And now I think that... Come on, no death blow, sadly. Retribution now is going to give me quite huge value. They could just keep hinting into the Antiquarian, but I mean, I can just take cover. They go with a Pistol Shot, one of the worst abilities in the circus, and they don't even do enough. This is why you always bring Arbalest for damage, ranged damage that is, instead of the Highwayman. So I'm just gonna drop another regen here, because my health bars are getting quite low, more low than I'm comfortable with. And now they have to either go for a pretty bad, yeah, they have to either pass or they have to accomplish almost nothing with their Bounty Hunter. Sure, they can pull my Antiquarian, but I mean, I can just take cover, so it's an action trade basically. Which, sure, may be unfortunate for me, but it's not as unfortunate as it may seem. I could Festering Vapors here. I could, but I don't think that is gonna be worth it with plus 5% damage riposte. So I'm just going to be safe here and take cover. Prevent this bounty hunter from getting a collect bounty, or that vessel from getting a daze. And now there really are no good targets for my opponent here. He can't ignore stealth, so he's basically just forced to hit into their post. Now, what should I do here? I think that... I think I should...
The reveling throng demands portion.
I think I need to keep guarding here. It's gonna give me a lot of value. Just make sure that they hit into that riposte. And every hit that they take and don't heal is very good for me. So they go into their posts, and I get a nice crit on it. The Highwayman is at death's door now, which is very fortunate for me. Now, I could finish the Highwayman, but I think that I may fail it, like I did with the Bounty Hunter, so I'm just going to take the more confirmed death blow. Now my opponent is lacking in characters. They go with if it bleeds into their post. And I think that... I don't take the death blow, sadly. And now Vessel is back in position to just drop a heal, which is something I really wanted to prevent. But I guess it is what it is. They don't get a crit heal at least, which is very fortunate for me. And I'm just going to resume that vicious cycle by pulling the vessel again. If they're smart, they're gonna go with the Hellion move first. But they're not smart. They're not smart enough. They're just going to do this advance to their post again. Or they're gonna go pistol shot. So, I could... I think that I need to crush you legitimately. Just get some damage into that Hellion. I don't like her having too high health. But she doesn't move back and misses the if it bleeds. That's so unfortunate. But, what should I do here? I think that I need to get the riposte up immediately. And, come on. Oh, it's not enough. It's not enough to drop her down to 0. That's unfortunate, but maybe next round. They're gonna look with their Hellion first, which is really not a good idea. Go with it if it bleeds and miss again. That's so unfortunate, and I surrender.